Well, I'm really glad you got that molding up. It's real beautiful. Yes, I'm going to show my viewers a close-up of it later. It does have a lot of curl. It's going to look really great above my workbench. Okay, well, I'm out of here. It's time for dinner. See you later. Welcome to WB Fine Woodworking. This is a shop update for May 3rd, 2019, or the 3rd of May, 2019, whichever you prefer in your country. Since we have a lot of international viewers, I thought I'd throw that in. I've been doing quite a bit out here in the shop. As you could see earlier over here, I was trying to clone myself, but somehow that just didn't work out. So I'm a little slow at getting things done. Yes, I've made progress on the workbench, but no, it's not ready yet. I'm almost done with the base. I still have some things to do on that, but I am going to give you a little bit of an update on what's been going on with the workbench in this update. I hope you enjoy this video. It almost didn't happen. More on that later. Before I go any farther with this shop update, I'd love to thank all of you who have subscribed to the channel and those of you that view the videos. You're why I do these, and I greatly appreciate you. I'd love to give a special shout out to our 500th subscriber, JW Memorabilia. It's a San Diego company that's active Navy personnel, and they do some wonderful work. You might want to check them out. I greatly appreciate their service to our country. What kind of content would you like on this channel? I'd love to ask you because you're the people who watch the channel. So what do you want to see? I need to produce some content that you want to see, so let me know what that is in the comments below. I'd greatly appreciate it. Now, back to the workbench. I have to say that the people at Lee Valley were great getting back to me with emails about the chops for the two vices that I'm going to be using from them on my workbench. I have the sliding tail vise. It's a quick release vise, which is great. And this is going to be the chop for that. I finally glued it up. It's still not the final dimension. It'll be cut off around this area here, and it's a little long. But I wanted to do it that way so that I have some leeway on how I put it on the bench. But this is the chop for the tail vise. The biggest issue that I had was the chop and the location of the chop for the front vise. And I finally have that glued up and the right width. And this is the front rail that's going to go on the workbench. Beautiful piece of walnut. And I have that set up ready to go. This, if I can pick it up here, this is actually going to be the front chop of the vise. And it's fairly heavy. This is one of the reasons why I'm concerned about a little bit about sag on the vise. And the people at Lee Valley have assured me that the vise is not going to sag. But you may remember I bought some extra of the nuts that go onto the vise rods. And I'm going to try that out to see if that will help. But this is actually the front chop that will go on the bench. And I'm real happy about that. It still is not to the exact length yet. I'm working on that as far as where I'm going to put it on here. I've also now cut out the spot for in the legs, the front of the front legs, that will take this 1.5 inch thickness of the front rail. I had a real exciting moment this week when I got the legs cut that will accept this front rail, and I got the rail to actually sit on top of the legs, and I could see exactly what it was going to look like, and I'll show you that in a moment. This is one of the rails for the end of the workbench. I made it from two 2x4s glued together and then milled it down so it's square and put tenons on each end. When I was researching workbenches for this project, I was amazed at all the different types and styles that I found. Here's just a hint of a few that I looked at. I was really intrigued by this German workbench. It had a regular leg vise, and then instead of a sliding dead man, it had a leg vise that slid back and forth. I first saw the picture of the German workbench on page 65 of Chris Schwartz's book on workbenches, but that workbench was also listed in Benchcrafted's website as the inspiration for their Roubaud bench. After working on my workbench, designing it and starting to build it, and deciding that I was going to have a twin screw vise and an old-fashioned tail vise, I still had no idea what to call it. I was thinking of calling it a Frankenbench because it had a lot of elements from different designs, or maybe a conglomerate bench. That sounded a little better. And then I stumbled across some information and a video by Christopher Schwartz. It turns out that my design is called the Holzapfel bench. The drawing of the Holzapfel bench is also in Christopher Schwartz's book on page 60. The Holzapfel bench is a combination of a French base and a German top. The top had a twin screw vise and a regular tail vise. What I have behind me is the rails and the legs for the workbench. These are the long rails that go on the back and the front. Of course, the other front rail would be the piece of walnut. Then I have the 4 legs, and then these are end rails. All of these are made out of 4x4s, and these were 2x4s glued together. Now, it may sound rather strange, but I'm planning to paint those parts of the workbench, and I came up with a paint color that I think is going to look great. Sort of matches my shirt, I think. I know some of you are probably wondering what happened to the chisel rack that I was making. I ran into an issue where the handles, especially on the thin chisels, was much heavier than the blade, and they wouldn't hang straight. So I'm working on a new solution to that, and I will get back to that, but I need to get the workbench finished first. I also went to Harbor Freight, of all places. I know some of you love Harbor Freight. I just haven't been there very often, but I wanted to get a hydraulic jack. I need the hydraulic jack to fix my drill press. And yes, there'll be a video on that because I'm sure some of you are going to wonder why I need a hydraulic jack to fix a drill press. That'll be coming up fairly soon. You may have noticed, and I think I switched it over to this arm because I was having trouble with the cord when I had it on this arm. But I have an iPod mini. It's something I bought years and years ago, and I discovered that it would be perfect for the shop. So that's what I'm using to listen to music. And of course, it fits under my earphones. So I'm enjoying listening to my music using my little iPod mini. Yeah, it even happens to be the right color of red, if you know what I mean. Early on in the video, I was using my nailer to put up the molding. I had a little trouble because my compressor I thought was leaking. Well, it turned out the hose was leaking, so I got a new hose for that. I'll do a video on it. It's a California Air Tools compressor, and it's an excellent compressor and very quiet. This is the California Air Tools compressor, and it's actually running right now. That's as loud as it gets. Speaking of California, Pam and I this week went to a place called California Adventure. It's actually a Disney park. It's right across from Disneyland, and we had a blast. The two of us had a wonderful day off. I think we walked close to 5 miles during the day, got plenty of exercise, and had a really fun time. This is where I spend a lot of my time when I'm not out in the shop. I use my Mac computer here and my Blue Yeti for editing videos. I had a real scare though with my computer the other day. A couple weeks ago, it quit working on me. I couldn't get it up, I couldn't get it on the internet, couldn't get it to do anything, except when it finally got up and running, it was extremely slow. I finally got Apple support on the line, and they were able to help me out. Even though I couldn't get on the internet, the Apple representative figured out a way to do that. And so we got the computer on the internet, and she was able to step me through how to reload the operating system that is on the computer. And by doing that, everything's working just fine. So that's one reason why I can still get this video out, is that the computer now is working again. Pam and I had been out running some errands, so we let the girls back in the house. This is Sassy, our oldest. She had to make sure that she greeted me when I sat down in my chair. Next up was Nadia. She had to make sure she greeted me as well. And then she was soon followed by Lexi. Lexi's our youngest. In fact, Lexi is the granddaughter of Sassy. I was really afraid there for a while I was going to have to spend the money I'm saving for my shop air conditioning on a new computer. At the very beginning, I mentioned I would show you a close-up of this molding. Unfortunately, this doesn't do full justice to it, but you can see that this molding has a beautiful curl in it, and that curl extends the whole length of the molding. This is the section right in front of my workbench, and like I said in the beginning, I'm really going to enjoy seeing this right above my workbench. I think this angle probably shows this molding best. You can see that that curl is just beautiful, and it goes all the way the full length of the molding. A simple question for you. What does copper pipe and a pipe cutter have to do with a workbench? That'll be coming up on the build video for this workbench. Stay tuned. If you like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up down below. Ask any questions that you want to ask or make comments. I'd greatly appreciate your comments and your questions, and thank you all very much for watching.